In 2010, Halifax Town, in the 6th tier of English football, signed a player for just £15,000. Jamie Vardy. After one season, a 24-year-old Vardy moved to Fleetwood Town in the 5th division. A year later, Vardy, already 25 years old, signed for Championship side Leicester City. At 29 years old, he was winning the Premier League title and finishing second top goal scorer to Harry Kane with 24 goals. A few years later, at 32, he's proven himself to be capable of matching the very best in English football. This season in particular, he's been having a party. I'll show myself out. That Jamie Vardy wasn't even in the Premier League until 26 is a major point of confusion for every football fan. But in this video, we're not going to talk about his history and his meteoric rise to the top. That has already been well documented. Instead, we're going to analyse how Vardy's role at Leicester has changed since Brendan Rodgers took over, and why his goal-scoring record has become even better. In Leicester City's title-winning season, they played counter-attacking football, choosing to sit deep and absorb pressure, then hit their opposition on the transition. This can be seen by their average possession across the season of just 45%, with only 2 teams in the league having a lower figure. In this playing style, Vardy excelled. Why? Because this style of play perfectly suits his 2 best attributes. Number 1, his rapid pace running in behind defenders, and number 2, his clinical finishing in front of goal. A couple of years later, however, Vardy found himself playing under Claude Puel, who attempted to introduce a more possession-based style of football. The talented finisher struggled to adapt. When Leicester had the ball, the opposition would drop deeper towards their own goal. This would close the amount of space behind the opposing defence and prevent Vardy from running in behind as often as he had previously. Suddenly, Vardy's main method of scoring had all but vanished. In a Sky Sports interview, Vardy was asked the following: Claude Puel, the manager, has been very deliberate in trying to create a possession-based style of play. Does that suit your style of play? To which he responded, no. But is it down to me to adapt to it? Yes. And how I do that is on the training ground. However, several months down the line, Puel is fired and Rodgers is brought in as his replacement. From this point onwards, Vardy has scored a goal a game for nearly 30 matches. Even for the likes of Sergio Aguero or Harry Kane, this would be incredible. So how has Rodgers changed Vardy's role within the team to get the best out of him? Before Brendan Rodgers took over, Vardy had more touches of the ball per 90 minutes, made more tackles, won possession back more frequently, and was overall more involved in the game. In fact, virtually the only stats which have improved since the Northern Irish coach took the role are the number of goals scored and touches in the box. Don't be fooled by the drop in Vardy's other statistics though. He hasn't become a lazier player off the ball. Instead, this reflects how Rodgers has changed his role since taking over. Under Puel, Vardy would press opposition defenders and occasionally drop deeper to help with the build-up play. Under Rodgers, Vardy has almost none of these responsibilities. His role is to stand on the shoulder of the opposition defender, run in behind when possible, and most importantly, put the ball in the back of the net. As Rodgers recently stated in an interview, you don't have to be involved in the build-up as long as the other players appreciate what you are trying to do. It is up to the others to serve him. Here we can see an example against Arsenal earlier in the season. While the Arsenal midfield have possession, Vardy doesn't join in the press. In fact, he steps further away from the man with the ball in order to be nearer the defender. If we compare this with Liverpool's forwards, they would be converging on the ball from all directions. But this is where we see Vardy's role within the team. He isn't meant to press defenders. His job is to be ready when an attack may break out. Once the Arsenal defender receives the ball, notice Vardy's body shape compared with David Luiz's. If Perez of Leicester is able to intercept the ball, Vardy will be in the correct position to pounce and accelerate away from Luiz. In Leicester's build-up play, Vardy's role remains the same. Here we can see another example later in the same match. Notice Vardy's position occupying the last man throughout this. Perez and Pereira link up to exploit the half space. Pereira brilliantly beats his man down the line and plays a ball in. Because of Vardy's run into the front post, along with Harvey Barnes behind him, the Arsenal players have been dragged too close to their goal and have left space in behind for Maddison and Ndidi to exploit. Admittedly, part of why this was so successful here lies with Arsenal's shocking defence, but they aren't the only team to be caught out like this season. Vardy's consistent advanced positioning regularly opens up spaces behind him, much to the benefit of his fellow players. In this example, it is Ndidi with the shot, but a more common result is a Maddison or Tielemans effort. It is therefore no surprise that Maddison sits 12th in the table for most shots this season, and only behind Kevin De Bruyne and Mason Mount when we remove the forwards. Vardy's role change isn't the only reason he's been excelling this season, however. Since Brendan Rodgers has arrived at the club, the team's style of play has changed greatly, which has also suited the striker. Before we discuss Rodgers' tactical changes and how they've brought the best out of Vardy, I'd like to take a moment to welcome you to the channel. Here on the 12th Man, I discuss all things football. As a smaller channel, any support you show, whether that is just a single like or a subscription, it truly goes a long way. Thanks for taking the time to listen. Now let's get back to the video. As we know from our previous breakdown of how Brendan Rodgers has transformed Leicester, the Northern Irishman likes to play a possession-based style of football. While this is a common theme with his predecessor Claude Puel, the similarities pretty much end there. The biggest difference is the speed of progression. Puel's Leicester were often criticised for their slow, boring football. As highlighted earlier, this slow progression allows the opposition to drop deep, closing the space behind for Jamie Vardy to run into. Rodgers, on the other hand, instructs his team to win the ball back and immediately look for the forward pass. As a result, the opposition has less time to reset, and Jamie Vardy's trademark runs in behind have returned in full force. Another factor is Vardy's supply line. Rodgers has instructed his midfielders, in particular James Maddison, to link up with the fullbacks and attack the half spaces. The half spaces, as shown here, are the areas of the pitch where the central defender and fullback are generally positioned. In this example, Harvey Barnes holds the ball up, while Chilwell darts into the half space. Chilwell does brilliantly to get to the byline and chips a ball in for Vardy, who easily finishes it. While this may be a simple goal for a player of Vardy's quality, the point here is that the striker has a consistent supply line of brilliant players around him feeding him, and the positional awareness to be in the right place at the right time to score these types of sitters. Under predecessor Puel, defending against Leicester was simple: drop deep and close the spaces. Against Leicester's team today, however, it isn't so simple. When you sit deep, you invite pressure to the edge of your box. Here, Maddison and Tielemans will excel with long shots or delicate through balls. As a result, some teams choose to press high in an attempt to stop them from ever reaching this position. Here we can see Leicester versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth are pushed high up the pitch with 8 of their men in the Leicester half. With all of Leicester's men except Vardy in the same half, this doesn't appear a dangerous moment for Bournemouth. Then, Chilwell hits a long ball over the top. As the camera pans towards Vardy, apologies for the blur, we can see he has been marked by 2 defenders, but has reacted quickest and is already 2 steps ahead of them before the ball has even landed. If we continue forward, Vardy is hitting a first-time lob over the keeper, and that is that. Due to Leicester's versatility in attack, some teams have begun allowing Vardy space to run in behind yet again, and this man does not need a second invitation. Here on the 12th Man, I discuss all things football. So if you're a football fanatic like myself and are bored of hearing surface level punditry on TV, Michael Owen, join the community by subscribing now. As a smaller channel, any support you show would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and remember to check out other videos which you'll see on the screen now.